Opening day was about family for the Tribe, but unfortunately the day belonged to former Indian Travis Hafner and Yankees slugger Robinson Cano. The last time Terry Francona lost a home opener, his 2004 Red Sox won the World Series in his first season as manager in Boston. Tonight, he gives the ball to Carlos Carrasco, who makes his first start in almost 2 years. Next on Sports Time Ohio. From Progressive Field in downtown Cleveland, Ohio, it's Indians baseball. Tonight, it's Game 2 of a 4-game series between the Indians and the New York Yankees. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. In addition to the Indians taking a thumping at the hands of the Bronx Bombers yesterday in their home opener, they lost Carlos Santana. He and Chris Perez got crossed up on the signal. Santana got a fastball right on the thumb.
You know, that happens to catchers a lot, but I'll tell you, not as severe as this one right here. Santana didn't get any leather on it. It hit high up on his thumb. He's going to be out for about 3 days, and it's really disappointing. But the good news is the x-rays came back negative, so what do? They put Lou Marson on the 15-day DL. They call up Yan Gomes from Columbus. They also bring up Omar Santos. His contract was selected, so they have 2 extra catchers, and hopefully Santana's only going to be out 3 days.
They had hoped to activate Jason Giambi from the DL today. That's not going to happen, obviously, with these latest developments. Now, it's been 223 games played by the Cleveland Indians since Carlos Carrasco last started a game. He gets the call today against the ageless one, Andy Pettitte.
You're right. Carlos Carrasco, looking forward to it. He rehabbed for such a long time. His last start, August 3rd against Boston. He will be matched up against left-hander Andy Pettitte. Andy Pettitte last year, if you recall, against the Indians, took a line drive off the bat of Casey Kochman, and he was hurt. So we'll see what happens tonight. He pitched good in his first start.
We'll see if the Indians could put a hurting on Pettitte and the Yankees tonight. The Indians looking for their first home win of the season and get back on the winning track. Stay tuned. We're coming right back at you next. All ready to go tonight here at Progressive Field. The Indians and the New York Yankees. Carlos Carrasco on the hill for the Tribe here this evening. Here is Joe Girardi starting 9 for New York. Brett Gardner, Robinson Cano, Kevin Youkilis. Then Travis Hafner, Vernon Wells, and Ichiro. Eduardo Nunez, Lyle Overbay, and Francisco Cervelli getting the start behind the plate tonight, batting 9th.
Well, the long road back for Carlos Carrasco, the 26-year-old right-hander starting. His last start, August 3rd. You look back, his 4th year, 33 starts, a record of 10-15.
And his first pitch, a little bit outside for ball 1. 62 degrees under cloudy skies here in downtown Cleveland. Gardner went 1 for 5 yesterday in the series opener. Fights it off, and he's down on the count 0-2. You see the good velocity from Carrasco, 95 and 96.
Well, something we did not see yesterday from Jimenez.
No.
You know, he was in the high 80s. So there's nothing wrong with this gun. He is getting it up there, and I'm sure pumped up.
The right-hander with a 1-1. Another fastball fouled back. He ran that one up to 97 miles an hour. Carrasco had a start in the minor leagues in spring training. It was a minor league spring training game. And in that game, his fastball averaged 95 miles an hour, and he hit 100 miles an hour twice on the radar gun.
I'm not worried about the velocity. I mean, you know, how hard you throw. I want it located. Because if he can locate his fastball and get through that lineup one time with his slider the way it is and his secondary pitches, if he doesn't have to show them early in a ball game, that's going to make him that much more successful as the game goes on. So locating the fastball, I think, is the big thing for him.
Everything's been away so far. And there's the slider. Gardner lays off, and the count goes full. Yan Gomes behind the plate doing the catching duties. The Indians really having to shuffle things. They put Lou Marson on the disabled list with a neck strain, I should say, as Gardner lashes it down the left field line, slicing, out of play, foul. Carlos Santana took that pitch on the cross-up yesterday off the fat part of his thumb, and he's got some swelling in there, so he's down for a couple of days, hopefully.
Check that Indians defense. Brantley, Stubbs, and Rayburn in the outfield. It'll be a Vilas, a Cabrera, Kipnis, and Swisher on the infield, with Gomes just called up getting the start behind the plate.
Fouled right back. Gardner good first at bat here for New York. Eighth pitch of the at-bat for Brett Gardner. And that fastball hit the left field well. Over the head of Brantley. One hops the wall. And into second base with a leadoff double is Brett Gardner.
Well, he continued to throw that fastball, which is fine. I want to see the location. I think this ball stayed middle of the plate and didn't get it away. As you look at it, and it gave him some swinging room, and he drives the ball. And not normally a guy that can drive it to left field, hits it over the head of Michael Brantley because he was cheating in. So starts it off with a double, his first double of the year. And the Yankees have only 11 doubles this year.
Robinson Cano did not have an extra base hit before yesterday's game. He hit 2 home runs and a double. Going 3 for 4 on the afternoon. Takes an outside corner. Fastball for a strike. Cano is still adjusting to batting in the 2-hole. He figured he'd be batting 3rd or maybe even 4th in the Yankee lineup this year, and wasn't necessarily 100% confident in hitting in that 2 spot. And as you know, Rick, it all comes to where you feel comfortable at.
Comfort zone. It's not going to take him long.
Oh, it goes through the wickets on Carrasco, and everybody's safe. He had a sure out at first. And I'm not sure if Carrasco was quick to look the runner back and maybe
Yeah,
that's what happened to him.
Looked a little panic set in. A lot of times when a pitcher has a ball hit back at him, they think it's coming a lot quicker than what it is, and this is just a one-hopper, easy for him. He just doesn't catch it. It deflects off Carrasco, so Gardner gets a third. It'll go as an infield single. He had him out in front. They give him an error, huh?
Error on Carrasco.
Oh, okay. So Cano reaches first, Gardner third, nobody out.
Kevin Youkilis 1 for 5 yesterday, steps in now, first and third, nobody out in the opening frame. And Youkilis takes a strike. The Yankees so far this year are 3-0 when they score first. They're 0-4 when they do not. But they're threatening already here, top one. Checked his swing, and it's a foul off the bat of Youkilis. He didn't want to offer at it. But now he's down on the count 0-2, and Carrasco really wanting a strikeout here.
Well, that's the last thing you want to do is give a strike away when you're not even, you're just checking your swing. Now it puts him in a hole with a runner in scoring position. He's really going to have to battle.
Oh, 2. Up high. Cut under that slider. Swung on and missed. He gets the strikeout he was looking for on a high heater. One down.
High riding fastball. Watch the movement coming in. I like the location. If you want to look at the sequence, see how it set up that last pitch. He was very aggressive and got ahead of him. Started him off fastball away. Then you got the little two-seamer that moved in. Tried the slider through that pitch and got it too hard, but then throw that two-seamer again upstairs, and it good movement to tie up Youkilis and get the out. Now he has the double play ball to get out of the inning, if he can get it.
Well, if he can get Hafner to hit it on the right side on the ground, a real good opportunity. Hafner's off to a blazing start. He's hit in every game he's played so far for New York, all 7 starts. 2 for 3 yesterday in his return to Progressive Field. He said afterwards it was really neat, the ovation he received, and he said, I knew just wearing the Yankee uniform, and the minute I hit that home run, those cheers weren't going to last long.
Well, yeah. When you spend 10 years in a place, and he had some really great years here for the Indians, and, you know, it's nice to come back to your park and do something special because you made a lot of friends over the course of the years. There you go.
He'll make a lot more friends with this. 4,
yes,
6-3, inning-ending double play. Carlos Carrasco gets out of the jam, and the Yankees fail to score in the first. Tribe coming to bat when we come back. No score, bottom of the first. Let's get a look at Terry Francona's starting lineup for the Indians, presented by Progressive, making it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. Drew Stubbs moves into the leadoff spot tonight with Michael Bourne getting a night off. Then Jason Kipnis is Drupal Cabrera. Nick Swisher, Mark Reynolds, Michael Brantley in the middle. Then Ryan Rayburn, Mike Aviles, and Yan Gomes batting ninth.
Andy Pettitte, 40-year-old, making his second start this year. Off to a good start in his very first one, 8 innings, only 1 walk, and this guy knows how to pitch. Excellent control, moves it in and out, changes speeds. 8-8 in his career against the Indians in his 21 career starts.
Drew Stubbs taking. It's a called strike in the count 0-2. Tried to shoot for the outside corner and just missed.
Shoots a little backdoor slider, breaking ball, trying to catch the corner, and it does. It wraps around the plate. By the time Cervelli caught it, it looked like it was a good pitch.
On an 0-2 pitch, Stubbs yanks one into the left field corner, and he's on his way to second base with a leadoff double here in the bottom of the first.
All right, the Indians do the same thing with their leadoff man. He will double on a 1-2 pitch by Pettitte. He's going to get too much of the plate, and Stubbs makes him pay. They want to run it in. A lot of times that cutter, he'll throw it in off the plate for a ball and get the hitters to swing at it. That one gets enough of it where Stubbs drilled it, gets it past Wells in left field. So the Indians have their leadoff man aboard and in scoring position.
Now Jason Kipnis lays a nice looking bunt, but it kicks foul. Initially, it looked like it was going to be perfectly down that third base line on the grass. But once it hit the dirt, it took a left-hand turn.
How about the Yanks defense? They've made 2 errors this year. Wells is in left, Gardner in center, Ichiro in right. It'll be Youkilis at third, Nunez at short, Cano is at second, Overbay at first, Cervelli doing the catching. And you can see Andy Pettitte, 102 career pickoffs. And you don't want to get too far off first base if you're over there. Hit doubles, that's a good sign.
No balls, 2 strikes on Kipnis. Andy Pettitte, 40 years old, made his major league debut with the Yankees back in 1995. Helped pitch them to the World Series title in '96.
And a big game pitcher as well.
He is, and you know what's interesting about that? He was so good in the playoffs, and yet in postseason play against the Indians in his career, 0-3 with an ERA of 6.74.
There you go. But I mean, anytime, when they were on their run and they had different opportunities to be there, he was always, he'd hold them right in there and give an opportunity to win. No success against the Indians, though.
2-strike pitch. Kipnis strikes out. Can't get him over. 1 away. Take a look at tonight's keys to victory. Carrasco, you want to try to not let the adrenaline get the best of you in your first start, and been a couple of years for him.
They're getting a little tricky back there, aren't they? In the Carrasco. And the righties versus Pettitte. You can see the Red Sox were 7 for 21 off him, but he's still going to have to deal with a few lefties in the lineup. Right now, you just want situational. It would have been nice to move him over and give Cabrera a chance to get him in. Now Cabrera in the number 3 hole for the first time this year.
Yeah, Kipnis and Cabrera flip-flopping tonight.
Because Michael Bourne getting the night off with a tough lefty. And that's his first night off, and he moves Stubbs up. So that worked as far as to this point.
Cabrera, 1 hopper to short. Nunez will throw him out. All right, 2 down, and we'll take a look at the umpiring crew. Jordan Baker behind the plate, the crew chief Tim McClellan at first, Jerry Meals, and Marvin Hudson. So now Nick Swisher. Swisher was 1 for 3 with a couple of walks yesterday against his former team. Drew Stubbs, great speed at third base. Missed outside, ball 1.
This is something the Indians have done pretty well so far to this point in the year, hitting with runners in scoring position at 2 outs, 350 clip. That doesn't stay around too often, so you take advantage of it while you can. Those are big hits to get and nice ones.
No, yesterday they were just 2 for 11 with runners in scoring position. Already 0 for 2 here tonight. Swisher bangs it right to the shortstop Nunez, who was playing him in that hole. And the side is retired. So each team a scoring chance in the first, but they cannot convert. No score after 1. New Premium McWrap. Fresh vegetables, tasty sauces, and juicy chicken in a warm tortilla. Try one today. Second inning here at Progressive Field. It's really turned out to be a very nice evening here in downtown Cleveland. Weather forecast is changing by the hour, it seems like, day to day. Vernon Wells looks at the ball upstairs. Similar to yesterday, though, the breeze is blowing out, and it's a pretty good one out toward right field.
Well, if you remember always last year, it seemed like it was always blowing in, and that's the cold wind coming off the lake. So we like it when it goes out.
We may have some of that before this homestand is over.
I'm sure we will. You know, in the month of April, we always do.
Yeah.
I like it when it blows out, though.
Usually,
pitchers may not.
Usually indicates the warm southerly breezes.
Yes, indeed.
Here's the 2-0. Wells chops it to third. Aviles can't come up with it. Recovers, but can't get Wells, and he's aboard. Might be the second error charged to Aviles this year.
It's going to be an error, and that's going to give the Indians already 7 errors on the year. That's just a routine play, so he doesn't hold on to it and can't recover in time as Wells gets down the line. So Carrasco had the error in the first inning, and he was able to pitch around it and get out of a tough situation. So now they get the leadoff error here in the second. We'll see if he can do the same thing.
Ichiro was 2 for 4 yesterday. Chop to first. Swisher goes to second. There's one. Cabrera's return throw is in time. A double play. Second inning in a row the Indians have turned two.
He wastes no time, does he? After that, the very first pitch, a beautiful 3-6-3 double play. This is going to be our McDonald's. I'm loving it, and it's a great throw by Swisher. Look how quickly he gets rid of it, and he gets back in a hurry. Cabrera, no problem, and this is Ichiro running, not an easy guy to double up.
Watch Cabrera put a little mustard on that throw. Made sure he got it there in a hurry.
Nicely done, and Carrasco picks up his defense. Way to go.
So quickly 2 out now for Eduardo Nunez. The Yankee shortstop 0 for 4 yesterday. Upstairs, ball 1. Hard ground ball up the middle. Cabrera can't get to it with the dive, and Nunez with a 2-out single keeps the inning alive. Well, Carlos Carrasco, 223 games since his last start for the Indians. With more on the Indians' right-hander, here's Katie Witham.
Well, Tommy John surgery improved Carlos Carrasco's mechanics. If you pay attention, he has more shoulder tilt now coming off of the mound than he did in 2011, which not only helps him to stay back longer, but also to use more of his body when he throws. Indians pitching coach Mickey Callaway told me the key for Carrasco today, establish that fastball and then work in those secondary pitches.
Well, makes total sense. You know, and that's why one of the keys was to, Carrasco, keep your cool. Don't get, too amped up here with your first start. It's only natural. He's been out and paid his dues in Arizona for so long to work hard to get back. And you're facing the Yankees. It could be anybody. But, you have a tendency to overthrow. But he's settled in nicely so far and gotten a couple of big double plays in the first 2 innings.
Misses to Lyle Overbay, who went 0 for 4 yesterday. Now, baseball is all about adjustments, and I suppose if you're coming back from a major surgery like Tommy John, it's natural that you might make an adjustment or two mechanically.
Yeah, and Tommy John is a common surgery now. It seems if you haven't had it, you're a freak. Everybody has had it at one time or another. Pitching coming up, and it's almost like a time frame where you're going to spend between a year and 16 months where you're going to rehab your way back to playing.
Line drive to center field. That's a base hit. Nunez stops at second. Back-to-back 2-out singles here in inning number 2.
Come back, and there it is, another fastball away. Overbay likes to extend it, hit it right back up the middle. That's already 3 hits for the Yanks.
So we've got 2 on with 2 out for Francisco Cervelli. Well, there was a lot of talk among Yankee fans in the offseason. Russell Martin gone. They didn't really go after anybody, a veteran, to take over behind the plate. They felt like this guy was ready to be the everyday catcher. Off to a great start offensively, hitting .308.
I'll tell you one thing. Stewart did a nice job
really
yesterday behind the plate for me when it comes to blocking balls, throwing balls, and he got a base hit, stole a base, and scored a big run for him. He did a nice job yesterday.
Eduardo Nunez at second. Lyle Overbay at first with 2 down. And he's upstairs with it, 1-1.
It comes a point in time when you're a player, you have to get an opportunity. And a lot of times with the Yankees, you don't see a lot of young players getting opportunities because they go with the veterans, the free agents, the high-dollar guys that are out there. So if you get an opportunity, you want to make the most of it. Cervelli spent some time there last year. He's not a big guy. He doesn't look like a major league catcher, but he's a tough kid. So you got to take advantage. You know, when that door is open, you got to push your way through.
1-1 pitch. Boy, talk about big guys. By the standard of his era, Joe Girardi was minuscule. I mean, not a big guy at all. But certainly held his own.
Boy, was a very good catcher for a long time.
Now the 2-1 pitch from Carrasco to Cervelli, and it's up high, 3 balls and a strike. So it looked like he was going to cruise right through this inning. He had 2 outs after he got the double play ball, but Nunez with a base knock, Overbay with a base hit right up the middle.
Yeah, he had a chance to get out of the inning. Made one good pitch, and then a couple of guys dinged him, and now he's got to come back, and you don't want to turn it over to the top of the lineup. Come in, get after him with a good quality strike, fastball down and away.
And he walked him. The bases are loaded. So the 7, 8, 9 hitters all reach with 2 outs in the inning. And now Brett Gardner, who doubled in the first, is coming to the plate. And Carrasco has now made 30 pitches. And this is what we talked about. This is all part of it. You know, your first start back. You want to do well. You're amped up. You're raring to go. The command just not quite as precise as he would like here at the outset.
And that's usually the last thing that comes back, you know, is the command.
Yeah.
You build back your arm strength from hard work, from weights, from throwing, from long tossing, from throwing all your sides. You get that back and you get your velocity back, but it's command that's one of the last things to come back to you.
Pitchers talk about the feel. You have to have the feel for your breaking ball, and
that comes from pitching.
Yeah.
You know, not from rehabbing.
Pitching coach Mickey Callaway looking on here as Carrasco has pitched himself into trouble now. 1-0 delivery to Gardner.
But you see, I think sometimes being a pitcher, I was never a pitcher, never had to come back from that surgery, but my first thought would be, if you know you're throwing the ball hard, 95, 96, 97, you're throwing as hard as ever, that's probably more important to you than I'll take a 92, 93 right there. You know, where you can locate it and get it inside or keep it down, hit the knees. It's all about location.
But in the mind, it's all about power.
Yeah, but in your mind, you're saying, I'm back. I'm throwing as hard as I ever was. You're just trying to, power your way through it instead of finesse your way through it. That was a good pitch. That was down in the strike zone.
Off speed.
Was that a changeup?
I think it was.
You know, I want to see a few more changeups. But, you know, with Gomes being a young dare, oh boy, throw that pitch all night long. Sometimes backing off is a little better than trying to power your way through a situation.
And he put him away here. In the alley, a base hit for Gardner. That's going to score 2. So a 2-out, 2-run single for Brett Gardner, and the Yankees take a 2-0 lead. Had him down on the count, but could not put him away.
All this is happening now with 2 outs, so Yankees will break through, take the lead. Gardner, his 4th RBI, and 3 of them are in this series, and this is only game 2. He had 1 yesterday, comes back with 2 more. So the Yankees early 2-0 lead.
4 straight have reached with 2 outs in the inning. And now Robinson Cano, who sent a ground ball back to the mound his first time up. Our stat of the game, Robinson Cano with a .358 career mark against the Tribe. His best against any opponent.
Well, I can believe it because we've witnessed it. And I mean, a lot of it has been done with power and a lot of damage.
Well, as Terry Francona said, the problem with Cano is that he can hurt you no matter where you throw it. If it's in the zone, away, in, down, up, it doesn't matter. He'll get the barrel to it when he's locked in.
He wasn't locked in coming into yesterday. But if you recall, and you were talking about earlier about him in that second slot trying to get into that comfort zone, you notice what he did. He was aggressive. He got in there early and hit the 3 hits he had were all on first pitches. You know, after he had walked one time. So, I mean, that got him going. And he will gradually get into it because this is the guy you're going to pitch around. You're going to make Euclid beat you, I think, if he gets swinging the bat. And the Indians already know that. He saw it in the paper if he reads it.
Players don't read the papers. You didn't know that?
Yeah. That's fine.
3 balls, no strikes.
Then they can read their computer online. They don't have to read a paper.
A long second inning now for Carrasco. Hard to believe he had 2 outs, nobody on base before all this happened.
He's had 3 2-0 counts in this inning.
3-0 to Cano. Taking all the way, it's in there.
Yeah, when a good hitter can just stand up at home plate and take that pitch right there and just size you up. Look at it. To me, that's the key. When you're swinging the bat, you see the ball well.
Now the 3-1 pitch. Center field, Stubbs racing back. He can't make the catch. Cervelli will score. Gardner's going to come all the way around from first to touch home. And a 2-out, 2-run double for Robinson Cano makes it 4-0 New York.
That was a bullet. He tried to come back in there with another heater, and Cano was ready. That ball, it looked like it might have fooled Drew Stubbs out in center field. This was smoked. Down and in, right into his wheelhouse, and he just turns it around and hits it straight away center field. And this ball takes off. Stubbs going back on it, trying to catch it on the run, gets over his glove and over his head. So a big 2-out rally for the Yankees here in the second inning. They've got 4 hits out of their last 5 batters, if you throw the walk into Cervelli.
And the 8th man to bat in the inning now is Kevin Youkilis.
And that's what you try to stay away from as a starter is big innings. Big crooked numbers, and the Yankees have one on the board early.
Youkilis struck out on a high fastball his first time up. And he swings through a slider to start this AB. The 0-1 foul right back out of play. Nothing into the count on Youkilis now.
Yeah, he has thrown 21 pitches since that double play ball. When Ichiro came up and after the error and got that first pitch for a double play ball, it's been 21 pitches since then to try and get that final out.
The 2-strike pitch. Down low. And the 1-2 is swung on and missed. Carrasco gets the strikeout to end the inning. But the Bronx Bombers do some 2-out damage and take a 4-0 lead. Nothing lead as Mark Reynolds leads off the bottom of the second for the Tribe. Looks at a first pitch strike. Reynolds 1 for 4 with a double yesterday. He flirted with that left field wall a number of times.
He had a couple of balls, maybe 3 if not 4, that just off the end of the bat where he didn't get into them, but
that one ate him up.
Cut her in.
1 down. Tonight's injury report brought to you by Elk & Elk. Serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK, Ohio. Carlos Santana listed as day-to-day. The x-rays on that left thumb were negative, but unlikely we'll see him for the next couple of days. Lou Marson was placed on the DL with the cervical neck strain. Here is Michael Brantley. Brantley went 1 for 5 yesterday. Looks at a ball up high. Two balls and a strike. And now the count back to even at 2-2. Tigers beat the Blue Jays earlier today at Comerica 7-3. Detroit moves to 4-3 on the year. Blue Jays now 2-5. Bouncer towards second, and Robinson Cano throws him out 2 away. With more on the Carlos Santana thumb injury, let's go downstairs to Katie Witham.
Well, guys, I saw Santana in the clubhouse today. He showed me his thumb, and it's swollen to almost twice the size of what it should be. The Indians expect him to be out 2 to 3 days. Terry Francona said that seeing Lou Marson out there filling in for Santana, he just was not comfortable with that, which lands Lou on the DL. And right now, he's kind of trying to turn a negative into a positive, saying he's really excited to see what a guy like Yan Gomes can do out there.
Here's Ryan Rayburn taking the strike.
He's going to get his opportunity, and it's unfortunate on a cross-up, just like that, you know, where the pitch was made and Santana thought a breaking ball was coming and Perez, you know, threw the fastball. A little miscommunication because we talked to him today. Santana thought the breaking ball was coming, but he put down the breaking ball. Perez wasn't looking in originally when he put the first sign down and ended up throwing a fastball.
Perfect defensive alignment for Rayburn, and Cano throws him out. So the Indians go 1-2-3 here in the second, 4-0 New York. As you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Third inning gets underway with Travis Hafner leading off for New York. He banged into an inning-ending double play in the first. Well, ultimately now very important for Carlos Carrasco to do what Ubaldo Jimenez was unable to do last night, which is just put up some zeros and try to hold this lineup at bay.
Yeah, when you give up a big inning early in a ball game, now your job is zeros until your offense can come back and maybe try and settle Andy Pettit and get you back into the game. You can't let him add on at this point.
And not to mention, even though it's his first start back, Terry Francona would like to see Carlos Carrasco eat up some innings. Maybe not likely now that he's already at 45 pitches, but Terry said the quickest way to ruin a season is to burn out your bullpen early.
Well, he knows he doesn't want to do that, but the location of pitches is going to make a difference. He's been middle of the plate. When he's missed, sometimes he's missed a lot middle of the plate, and you can't do that. This may not be the vaunted Yankees lineup where they have their power hitters, but they have some good hitters in this lineup.
Hafner socks it right to Rayburn in right field, who makes a nice basket catch about knee high. That ball was
not
smoked.
An easy play. A line drive right at you. One of the tougher plays as an outfielder, and Rayburn makes it. He's held his own out there in the outfield so far. Made a nice play in Tampa the other day, throwing a runner out at home plate. Played some left field, and there's a sinking liner. And I'll tell you what, those things, it got to him in a hurry.
So Hafner 0 for 2. Now here's Vernon Wells, who reached on an error his first time up. And a slider for a strike. Popped him in the air. Center field. Drew Stubbs. 2 down.
After the Carrasco got the 2 outs, watch the location of the 4 hits. Elevated fastball, and he drives it through the infield. A pitch up in the zone. That one was an off-speed pitch down, and there's another one, middle of plate, Cano, that he just rockets. I mean, his location's not very good there.
Ichiro Suzuki banged into a double play his first time up, takes a strike. Down the right field line and deep and gone. So the 2-out trouble continues for Carlos Carrasco as Ichiro takes him deep, his first home run of the year, and it's 5-0 New York. And the Yankees doing all their damage with 2 outs here tonight.
Well, their fastball middle in. He turns on it. People say he tries to slap everything. You've got to make him use his hands and force him to try and pull a ball. Well, he pulled that one pretty well. Got it out of here in a hurry. And there's the add-on we were just talking about. Yankees just 5 for 6 now with 2 outs hitting. That's what's hurt Carrasco. A chance to get out of innings, and early in this game, can't do it.
There's a hanger, but it's down the line and foul. One ball and 2 strikes. The count on Eduardo Nunez. It's hit well. Deep left. Back is Brantley. Onto the track. At the wall, and he makes the catch to end the inning. New York tattooing Carlos Carrasco early. Ichiro with a 2-out homer, and it's 5-0 New York. The Yankees now with a 5-0 lead. Bottom of the third. Mike Aviles, the number 8 hitter, will lead off for the Indians. And Andy Pettit with a fastball in there for a strike. Aviles won at bat yesterday, and he went deep to the home run porch in left field. Fastball, then the off-speed pitch, and it's 0-2.
Well, this is a tough guy to spot 5 runs to, because then he starts going to work. He's not going to pitch any differently, but he's just crafty. That cutter, he'll widen your strike zone.
Well, it's what you talked about, with Carrasco. Pettit is all about location and commanding.
Well, I mean, in his day, he used to throw 92 to 93. And I'll tell you who's like that nowadays, too, is CC Sabathia, learning how to do that. He's not 96 anymore like he once was. You got to go, you have to learn how to pitch. Change up, sliders, you stay out of the middle of the plate. It's nice when you're young and you have the velocity. Sometimes you just don't know what to do with it.
Aviles rung up. He thought it was low, and he lets home plate umpire Jordan Baker know it. 1 down here in the third.
Well, and now if you get an umpire behind the plate, that helps out a pitcher that doesn't need the help, and that was low. He's got a legitimate beef. I'll tell you, that was low, but that wasn't as low as one yesterday in Texas. I'll tell you that if you ever had a chance to take a look at it. That ended the game, mind you.
Yan Gomes, his first at bat as an Indian. Yeah, Ben Zobrist was rung up to end the game.
Joe Nathan was pitching in that game down in Texas, and that one was low for Mike Aviles. There's no doubt, and you have your beef. But the game wasn't on the line. You're down 5-0 here for Aviles. But how about last night? This was a one-run
game with the tying run aboard.
Tying run on first base. All right, see you later. Game over. All right, look at that. The pitcher says, wow. He might be able to pitch a no-hitter if you get those calls. And then Joe Madden, I'll tell you what, he had a legitimate beef. And, what do you do? I mean, the call obviously was just a bad call, and he admitted it afterwards. But certainly doesn't help you,
I believe it was Marty Foster, the umpire. Yeah. He said afterwards, if I had a chance to do it over again, I wouldn't have called it a strike.
Well, that's no kidding. Just follow it all the way in. But, I mean, it happens. They're human. They miss calls. But if they miss him, you just hope you're not the hitter or the pitcher. And I would think, how many times does a pitcher make a pitch for strike 3 and the umpire calls it a ball when it is a strike, and then the hitter gets 4 strikes and gets a base hit to hurt the pitcher? We don't talk about that very often.
The 1-2 to Gomes. Chops it back to Pettit, who's always fielded his position very well. 2 down. Here's the AT&T trivia question tonight. Since 1960, 3 left-handed pitchers have 2 World Series clinching victories each. Who are those 3 southpaws?
They have 2 World Series clinching victories each.
I'll have the answer coming up in a little while. Here's Drew Stubbs. He doubled to left to start the game for the Indians, but the Indians couldn't get him home. Now Stubbs goes the other way. He might have another double.
Go.
He's going to hit first, burn for second. Ichiro's throw is not in time. Actually hit Stubbs as he slid in.
You know
and
what?
Drew has both Indians hits in the game, both doubles.
You know what, though? That's a situation. The way this kid can run, Stubbs, go for it. 2 outs. You know, maybe a single. You want to get on the board. You don't want to get thrown out. And Ichiro, very good arm. But the reason why I say go, it's not directly at him where he can set his feet. He's got to come up and watch. He's got to chase it to the side, and he's got to throw sidearm. He can't plant and throw. And the way that Stubbs can run, that gives him extra time to get in the scoring position.
Here now is Jason Kipnis, who struck out his first time up as the Indians try to give the Yankees a taste of their own medicine with some 2-out damage now.
That would be nice. This would be nice to get on the board.
Jason now 1 for 10 on the year with a runner in scoring position. One ball, 1 strike to count.
Don't know why he went back there. He's not going anywhere.
Down too low, 2 balls and a strike. Even with that, of the 38 pitches Pettit has thrown, 29 have been strikes.
Well, he has 6 ground ball outs, so he's making them put it in the play on the ground. There you go. Now, you see, he's around the plate, so he gets a lot of swings. You got to make him get on the plate.
Three-one delivery.
That a boy. There you go.
Kipnis draws a walk with 2 down. So 2 on for Asdrubal Cabrera.
This is something that Cabrera's got to do. He's been a little over anxious in his at-bats and swinging a lot of pitches that are borderline, if not balls, getting himself out.
Now the Indians could use a little jolt right now. Something to pick up a little momentum. Cabrera bounced to short his first time up. And Asdrubal waits back. It's low, ball 1. Asdrubal Cabrera does not have a hit with a runner in scoring position. 0 for 9. Yeah, good spot to break that skid right here. And it's 2-0. And Cervelli's going to go out to chat with Pettit, who walked Kipnis, and now he's falling behind Cabrera.
That is the first 2-0 count, too, that Andy Pettit has had tonight. And he was in such a groove, just boom, 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 that little 2-out double. Stay patient.
Seems to be something Cabrera is fighting himself over since opening day when he hit that home run in Toronto. The 2-0 pitch. It's a strike, 2-1.
I still go back and say Cabrera, you remember, he never played a lot the last week of spring training.
He had the back injury that kept him out.
He had that back injury, and he only had a few at-bats right before he left camp, so you never know if he's ready. It hasn't hurt him defensively, so I'm not making an excuse. You think he's fine.
Cano waiting. Did they get there in time? Apparently they did. Kipnis almost beat him to the bag as Cano nearly waited too long to flip it to Nunez for the inning-ending force. The Yankees with a 5-0 lead as we move to the 4th inning. Carlos Santana enjoying a
Well, why not? You can't
sucker.
do much. He's got a little pressure pack on that. He looks like he feels good, but that's going to be tough to squeeze a bat. Too bad, too, because as hot as he was swinging it.
Lyle over, babe. Bangs the first pitch on the ground to Cabrera. 1 away.
Well, MLB.com at bat is the #1 source for live baseball everywhere you go. Available for iPhone, iPad, Android, and BlackBerry 10. At Bat delivers Indians baseball with live audio, pitch tracking, stats, news, highlights, and more. Text at bat to 31826 or visit Indians.com for the details.
Francisco Cervelli. 2-out walk and a run scored in the second. Fastball strike outside corner at the knees. Good pitch. Pulled the string on him nicely, and it's 0-2. Right back to the mound. Nice stab by Carlos. 2 down. Right now on FoxSportsOhio.com. Hear what Tony Lastoria says Indians fans should realistically expect during Carlos Carrasco's stint with the Tribe. And you got to hear what Zach Jackson and Andre Knott said about the Indians in their latest podcast, A to Z. Have questions about where the Cavaliers go from here? Get them answered by FoxSportsOhio.com Sam Amico during his live chat every Wednesday at noon. It's all on FoxSportsOhio.com. Brett Gardner already 2 for 2. A double, a single, 2 runs driven in, and a run scored. Now, the reason why Terry Francona needs some length from his starters is the Indians' bullpen has already pitched the 3rd most innings in the American League. And this is week 1, just getting into the 2nd week of the season. Two-0 pitch.
Yeah, it was funny because we started the first 2 games, if you remember, in Toronto with the formula you wanted. Starters going 6. Turn it over to the bullpen where you got Smith, Pistano, Perez. Then all of a sudden, it went the total opposite way. Other than the second game that Masterson pitched where he went 7 innings in his second start.
The 3-0 pitch. And it's ball 4, and the 2-out trouble for Carrasco continues. 3rd straight inning, he's had 2 outs and nobody on base, and the next man is reached. Robinson Cano, meanwhile, has come to Cleveland and found his stroke. A couple of home runs, a double yesterday, and here tonight, a 2-out, 2-run double in the second on a scorching liner to center field. Ripped foul.
Jumped on that first pitch that time as well. Just a sweet swing, and you talk about a guy hitting it where it's pitched. He has the same power to left field, it seems, as he does to right, and it's line drives, and he doesn't try to overswing. Just has excellent plate coverage when he is in his groove.
Well, he's one of those rare breed. You talk about great hitters are born, not made. His hands are so incredibly quick that he can let the ball track deep. He can wait back longer than just about anybody and still turn it loose.
We've watched him before in batting practice and stuff, and we witnessed the chair they have there where you got to stay inside of it when they're swinging it with Long, their hitting coach. It's remarkable.
There's a high drive deep to left and long gone.
I mean, to tell you, you can forget it.
Robinson Cano just continues to tattoo Tribe pitching here.
It's another 2 runs and 2 outs.
And Carlos Carrasco has no answer for the 2-out woes. 7-0 New York.
This guy, start taking a tape and watch. Look at him out over the plate and just look at the top hand. He got through the baseball and hits it so nicely, and it just travels. Yeah, slow down, Robinson. You're running way too fast. I would say he's officially locked in. Now here you go.
Now
That's how he ended up. This is how he ended up with a 6-game suspension.
Carrasco looked like he had fallen down as he delivered the pitch. Certainly eyebrows are arched in the Yankee dugout after that, but Terry Francona wants to come out to see was a warning issued. I couldn't tell what Jordan Baker, he was gesturing, but it was.
He didn't fall down. That was intentional.
Yeah.
That's intentional. And that's what got him into trouble in Kansas City in his start before, and that's why he had a 6-game suspension and then got hurt.
I'm not sure. Was he ejected or was he just warned?
I'll tell you what. If the umpire officially believes he threw at him, I think he can eject him. Normally, the warning comes first. But
he might have ejected him. I'm not 100% sure. He just made a gesture, but it was hard to tell what that gesture.
Well, no, McClellan's telling him he's gone. Look at him. He's walking to the mound saying, "You're out of here." That's a young umpire there. Baker, look, he's got to explain it now to the skipper, but he's gone.
He was ejected.
He obviously felt that was intentional, and again, he's just coming back from his suspension he had to serve from 2 years ago and does the same thing. A guy hits a home run, and then he comes right at him. Euclid didn't hit the ball. He did the right thing. Look at Euclid. He's fine. There you go. You're gone. So and then Carrasco put his head down. Yeah, you're out of here. All right.
Not smart on the part of Carlos Carrasco to drill the next guy after you give up a big bomb.
He didn't hit it. That is not right.
Well, he's been ejected, and the Yankees are cruising again here at Progressive Field, and it's time for today's Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen. Brett Myers forced into the duty of long man tonight for the Indians. Now back here at 7-0 New York. The Yankees have taken a 7-0 lead on the 2-out 2-run homer by Robinson Cano, and then the next man up, Kevin Youkilis, drilled on the left shoulder by a pitch. Carlos Carrasco ejected, and now Brett Myers, who was scheduled to start tomorrow night's game, forced into the role of long man because, again, this goes back to Terry Francona's concern. The biggest way to derail your season as a team is to burn out your bullpen early.
Yeah, and they've gotten their work lately. So Myers is going to come in. Obviously, he won't make the start, but with everything pushed back the way it was to get Carrasco his start tonight, everything falls into place. So Myers is going to come on and get some work. He'll get all the time he needs with the ejection, and I mean, not a good idea by Carrasco. Again, but Euclid, of all people, he's the one Carrasco had 2 strikeouts tonight, and he got Euclid both times. And it wasn't Euclid hitting the home runs. Carrasco can only be mad at himself for the way he pitched tonight, not at the other hitters. And I'll tell you, when you go back, he did that back in Kansas City. That's why he was serving that 6 games of suspension to start this year.
All right, if you just tuned in and maybe missed what happened, Robinson Cano, 2-out, 2-run homer. That's been the theme of the night. All the Yankee runs have come with 2 outs.
Right.
It's 7-0. Next pitch.
I mean, that's up high and up at the shoulder, too. Euclid didn't say anything. I mean, he was fine with it, but that's not fine. When you're the next hitter and you get that, and the umpire proceeds to just throw him out of the ball game. See ya, you're gone. So in comes Myers. You never know. He may have to serve another suspension for the ejection.
Yeah, I mean, if the umpire feels it's intentional,
right.
Which he did, that's why he was ejected.
There was no warnings. He automatically threw him out because he felt it was intentional. He may end up serving another suspension. That is not right.
So again, Brett Myers was scheduled to pitch tomorrow, but they bumped everybody back a day
to get Carrasco his start today.
His start. So
right.
If McAllister's forced to make Myers start tomorrow, he'd still be pitching on his regular 5th day.
Right. They're not pushing anybody out.
Right. It's just Myers would essentially be skipped.
And obviously this is a guy that was in the bullpen last year. They stretched him out to be a starter this year, so he's probably the easiest transition to go from a starter to the bullpen without messing up your whole rotation.
Yep.
So that's why he's in there.
2 outs, runner at first. Travis Hafner, now the batter, 0 for 2 on the night. Check to swing, good breaking ball in for a strike. Broke his bat as he got in on his hands, and the count is 0-2.
Let's go back to 2 years ago. Look at Milky Cabrera. He hit one long, and Carrasco didn't like that. That was here. There you'll see the high fives around. Now Butler comes up right at his head, and he's gone. The very next hitter. Same thing happened in July against Kansas City, and then, you know, that's an attitude problem right there.
That wind suddenly picks up as it's coming straight in from left field. Hafner stepped away. Myers deals, and Hafner way out in front of it, strikes out. That'll end the inning. But fireworks here in the 4th, and none of them good for the Indians. Bottom of the fourth inning now. Tribe down 7-0. They got a big hole to climb out of once again. Same thing happened yesterday.
Well, and all the damage, 2-out damage.
Yeah,
that Carrasco allowed. Yes. So
Nick Swisher 0 for 1. Ball 1. At the knees, a strike to Swisher. And a base hit the other way. He took advantage of the shift that the Yankees had on. And Swisher has a leadoff single here in the fourth inning.
Okay, the third hit. Drew Stubbs had the two other hits. They were both doubles, but Swisher on the baseball again. They're playing him over on the left side of the infield. Rarely do you see a right-hander, you know, when you have three infielders over on the left-hand side of the infield. Swisher beats that shift.
Mark Reynolds, a little tapper back toward the mound his first time up. And that runs in off the plate for ball 1. And a strike. Looked a little low, but it's a called strike. Evens the count 1-1 on Reynolds. Swung on and missed. And now the count of ball and 2 strikes. Popped him up on the infield. Overbay at first base. 1 down.
Well, great seats still remain for the next 2 games of this series. The Yankees going to close this out tomorrow and Thursday. And you don't want to forget it. Beers now only $4. Hot dogs only $3 for every home game. Go to Indians.com.
Here's Michael Brantley, who bounced to second his first and only time up. Now he turns on a ball, drives it deep right field. Ichiro back. He's on the track, and he makes the catch right at the base of the wall for out number 2. And back to first goes Swisher.
Yeah, it looked like Suzuki was getting ready to time that jump to get up there, and he got right to the base of the wall and ended up making the catch. You could see Pettit realize it wasn't a good pitch, and there's Suzuki about a step away from the wall, able to make it. He was looking there like he was getting ready to climb it.
Yeah, I think Pettit thought he had served up a home run.
Yes, he did, especially with that wind blowing out. But I'm telling you, in the last inning, it sort of changed on us.
You know, every once in a while when a wind blows this way, sometimes it'll hit that right field upper deck, and it'll actually knock balls down in right field. That may have happened there. Rayburn shoots it back out of play. Upstairs with it, 2-1 the count. Rayburn grounded to second his first time up. Back in the second inning. Pettit retired the side in order for the only time tonight in inning number 2. 3-1 to count. Brian Rayburn draws a walk, and now 2 on with 2 out for the second inning in a row. Here's our great clip of the game from yesterday. Micah Velas with his first home run as an Indian. Got the Tribe to within 11-6. Great clips. It's going to be great. See if he can do some two-out damage here. And a strike is called. There's a high fly ball left field. Back is Wells. He makes the grab, and the inning is over. 4 complete. It's the Yankees 7 and the Indians nothing. Locations in Northeast Ohio, and by your local Toyota dealers for over 30 Toyota offers. Visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. We move to the 5th inning with the Yankees in front 7-0. Brett Myers, who got the final out of the 4th inning, will try to suck up some innings now for that bullpen. Vernon Wells leading off, looks at a fastball up high. Wells reached on an error in the 2nd, fly to center in the 3rd.
Well, this is a game where Myers can come out. His first game, he had problems getting the baseball down in the strike zone. At Toronto, those guys hit a lot of balls a long way, and even the outs were in the air and deep. And as I can see right now, that still everything is belled high.
Up high with the breaking ball. And he hangs that curveball, and it's hit a long way left. off the top of the wall. And Wells goes into second base with a leadoff double.
Well, another breaking ball upstairs. Damage done. Yankees have teed off in the first 2 games of this series. They're getting a lot of good pitches to hit. Cleveland pitching location has been bad. So Wells, that's the 3rd double for the Yankees today. They've hit a couple of home runs. So 5 of the 8 hits that they have been for extra bases. And guess what? They started off this inning with a double. They did in the first and they didn't score. Maybe that's the key. Let the leadoff man get aboard.
Well, I think back to something that Nick Swisher said yesterday. He spent 4 years with the Yankees, and he was asked by the New York media about the new faces that are with New York, all the changes because of the injuries primarily that have beset them. And he said, you know, it doesn't matter that Jeter's not here, that A-Rod's not here. He said, you know, there's something about putting that Yankee uniform on, the tradition of that ball club. He said, you know, it doesn't matter. As long as they're out there on the field, they're going to have a good team. And you know, then you take that and you look at the numbers as Ichiro pops one to shallow left. The 6 new players that are in this Yankee lineup are on the club. Let's just say they're on the club. These guys in their first 7 games combined to hit .306, 17 runs scored, 7 doubles, 5 homers, 18 runs batted in. So, I mean, now I'm not saying they got a bunch of stiffs out there.
No.
But I'm just saying, you start thinking about what Swisher said, and, you know, you just put that Yankee uniform, all of a sudden they become
put the
King
Yankee
Kong.
uniform on. But without Jeter, without the guys that they're paying the big dollars to do well, they're not going to be able to sustain it for a whole year, I don't think. They may be able to fill in for a time being, but I think in the long run it's going to end up hurting them if they don't get these guys back.
I agree with that 100%.
But, I understand what he's saying. There's that pride. You put a Yankees uniform on, you're held accountable, and those people in New York will let you know it.
The 1-0 pitch.
But, hey, that's all part of baseball that teams have to go through throughout a course of a year, is dealing with player injuries and having to you see the strength of an organization or the 40-man roster. You talk about it every year. You know, before it's all said and done, if you're going to succeed from April to September, you're going to see how good your roster really is, because it's going to take everybody to do it.
Yep.
It's going to be a total team effort. And when you hear the teams in October come out and talk about it, that's usually what they say.
The 1-2. Weekly bounce towards second. Kipnis will throw out Nunez, 2 down.
Well, the first Dollar Dog Night of the year will take place on Friday. Chicago White Sox will be in town. It'll be a 7:05 game. Great seats remain for that one, so log on to Indians.com.
Just to follow up, too, on your point, and the one thing that Terry Francona has said that's kind of echoed with me is that over the course of a long baseball season, if you have a weakness, if you have a shortcoming on your ball club, it will get exposed. Maybe not in April, maybe not in May. Somewhere along the line, though, if you have a chink in the armor, it will get exposed.
There's no question about it. And everybody will be exposed.
And the reason is because of what you said, because you need everybody. You can't hide, as you've said before. You can't hide on the baseball field. Brett Myers takes care of Overbay, and believe it or not, that's the first scoreless frame since the first inning. All right, we go now to the home half of the fifth. Yan Gomes, Drew Stubbs, Jason Kipnis due up for the Tribe. Yan Gomes back to the mound with a ground ball, his first time up. The key for Yan Gomes this spring, Terry Francona wanted to see if, he could be a reliable catching guy. He's
right.
A player that's bounced around by position early in his career, and they really felt like he showed them enough that he could be an option at catcher at the big league level, and he's getting that chance now here early in the year. Earlier than they ever anticipated, I'm sure.
True. I mean, when there were talks about him making the ball club out of spring training, they want him to play every day, and they wanted him to do it down at Columbus to see if he could handle it. Situation has changed here in the first week of the season, with Marson getting run over at home plate, and then with Santana getting crossed up on a pitch and having to sit out a little while. He's not on the DL. He is listed as day-to-day, but it'll take a couple of days to get back and at least squeeze a bat.
Drew Stubbs is 2 for 2 tonight. He has doubled the left and he has doubled the right. And he is spun out of the way. 1 ball, 1 strike. A little bit. No, I thought it was low. Called a strike. 2-2. 40-year-old Andy Pettitte making his second start of the year. He went 8 innings in his first start. Allowed 1 run. Interesting in that Pettitte, as he misses outside to run the count full, with all the accolades he's earned in his career, he's now gone a Yankees all-time record 142 consecutive starts without a complete game. High pop on the infield. Youkilis coming in. He's looking at the catcher Cervelli, who makes the catch. 2 down. Get the answer to the AT&T trivia question. Left-handers, 3 of them since '60 of 2 World Series clinching victories. This guy's got to be one of them.
Well, you would think so. I would think Sandy Koufax has got to be one, maybe a Whitey Ford. I don't know. Jimmy Key. Okay, Jimmy Key was there at 92 and 96.
Baltimore, Toronto in 92, and then
yes,
96 with the Yankees. You almost forget about Jimmy Key going over to New York at the end of his career.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't everybody? I mean, really.
They didn't call you. What happened?
Oh, no, they tried earlier. It didn't work out.
The flip by Overbay to Pettitte, and the Indians go 1-2-3 here in the 5th. Francisco Cervelli, Brett Gardner, Robinson Cano due up for New York. Brett Myers has worked an inning and a third now out of the Tribe pen. High fly ball, left field. Stubbs on the run. Makes the catch on the warning track for out number 1. Our in-game recap brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Brett Gardner came up with a 2-out, 2-run single in the first, and that got the ball rolling for the Yankees. Robinson Cano followed with a 2-run double. And then in the fourth with 2 outs, once again, he goes deep. And it's 7-0 New York. Brett Gardner. Single, a double, a walk, 2 runs scored, 2 driven in. Ground ball up the middle, gets by Kipnis. Looked like it ticked off his glove, and Gardner's just going to keep on going right into second base. Scored a double. Kipnis got just enough on it with the glove that it slowed it down, so that Stubbs had to run about 40 yards just to get to the ball.
Well, Gardner been on base all 4 times. He gets down there, and Kipnis, I guarantee, felt he should have caught that ball. It was hit on the nose, but that ball gets under his glove, and you're right, it's taken enough of it off. Gardner just cruised into second base. Another pitch up in the strike zone. So he's been on base all 4 times. That's 4 doubles for the Yankees. And hit number 9.
And here is Robinson Cano, who's already hit 2 doubles and 3 home runs in the first 2 games of this series. Another ground ball to Kipnis. This time he has it cleanly, and he takes care of Cano. 2 down. So let's go back to the Hyundai Studios right now. Al Pawlowski has an in-game update.
Hey, Matt, Rick, let's set out to Washington, D.C. PB against Gonzalez here. This game was tied at 1 between the White Sox and the Nats. Tie was broken here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Ian Desmond, the long ball. 2-1 now. Washington leads Chicago. They're heading to the 6th in the nation's capital. Matt?
All right, thanks, Al. Kevin Youkilis struck out twice and then was plunked by Carlos Carrasco, which got Carrasco the heave-ho in the 4th inning. Now, the Indians aren't the only team around baseball facing some early season injury situations. How about Jared Weaver? He was trying to get out of the way of a line drive, and he went down and he fractured the elbow in his non-pitching arm.
Right, I did see that. Well, he was lucky to get out of the way of that ball. Almost got him in the head. Fell awkwardly, and yeah, it did not look good.
Looks like Cardinals closer Jason Mott needs Tommy John surgery now. That's a tough blow for St. Louis. Breaking ball fouled back. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with Roy Halladay physically, but he's got a 14.73 ERA after 2 starts, and Charlie Manuel has already admitted that he's concerned about Halladay.
Well, if he's concerned, he's watched him pitch, so he's seen him when he's been good. So maybe the concern there, you got to watch a guy play, and you watch him on a daily basis.
Yeah. Runner at third with 2 down. Brett Myers with a 3-2 count on Youkilis. And that is drilled deep left and gone. Kevin Youkilis gets into the act with his second home run as a Yankee, and that makes it 9-0.
Guess what? Two outs.
I feel like Abbott and Costello. Third base. Yeah, boy, oh boy.
Well, it's been true all game long. They get to 2 outs. The only times they haven't scored, they had leadoff doubles. Every other time they had 2 outs, and there's another breaking ball upstairs, and that's not coming back. Everything upstairs by Brett Myers. And when you see the locations, it doesn't surprise you.
Travis Hafner 0 for 3 on the night. And that's fouled down the left field line, out of play. Myers with a 1-1, and Hafner straightened up with it. Hafner chased one, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, the Yankees in this series, 10 for 22 with 2 outs. Tonight, 7 for 11.
Well, let's face it, back in the second inning, there were 2 outs, nobody on base when it all started. Same situation in the third and the fourth. Hafner strikes out to end the inning. But New York simply steamrolling the Indians here tonight, 9-0. Yankees on top 9-0. And here in the bottom of the 6th, Cabrera, Swisher, and Reynolds due up for the Tribe. As dribble, Cabrera drives one deep left center field, and it is gone to the bleachers. As dribble, Cabrera gets his first home run of the year, and it gets the Indians on the board here in the bottom of the 6th.
Well, that's the best swing Cabrera's taken in a while. And you see that's right down the middle, and he just stayed back on it and hit it a ton. So the Indians are on the board. Cabrera gets his second home run.
Nick Swisher with a hot smash to short, and it eats up Eduardo Nunez.
Yeah, that's one of your balls. I mean, it's hit right at you, and you don't know. You're going to short hop it. You turn to the side, and that just ate him up. Got by him. That'll be a base hit. That's one of those balls. Look at the top spin on it. It comes down, and that's a do-or-die play. And he just doesn't hold on to it. So Swisher now 2 for 2.
Well, as Drupal Cabrera's first home run of the year here at home, you hope that that's something that will maybe start to get him going offensively, because he has been in a funk, but so important to this Indians lineup. Now Mark Reynolds, who has grounded out and popped up.
Yeah, I'm more concerned with the pitching than I am the lineup.
In the foul ground, Overbay's got it. One away.
That's where you get a little help from your friends right there. Overbay coming all the way from first base, and that's a good play if you can. Cervelli had one catch earlier tonight off the bat of Stubbs that was up there, and that time Overbay helped him out.
Brantley 0 for 2 tonight. Fly to deep right his last time up. Brantley with a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Brushed him back. 2-1 the count. Pettit, as you see, there's 77 pitches. 51 of those have been strikes. Brantley, who almost hit one out of here his last time up, way out in front as Pettit pulled the string on him. 2-2. Lays off that time. Full count. And that's ball inside, ball 4. So the Indians have 2 on with 1 out now here in inning number 6 as Ryan Rayburn coming to the plate.
Well,
Tune in after Indians Live following the game for Chuck's Last Call. Chuck Galletti will take your calls on tonight's game and get you the latest information on what's happening in Cleveland sports. Chuck's Last Call tonight after Indians Live on Sports Time Ohio.
For Michael Brantley, a good at-bat just to remain patient. You know, even though it was a close pitch, he took it on the inside corner. You need base runners. Easy to chase something that's close when you figure it's a game like this, but you have to stay locked in.
The 1-0. And Rayburn pops one to center. Back is Gardner. Swisher will tag up at second. He'll head for third. Gardner's throw cut off, and the Indians have runners at the corners with 2 down. Now, before Mike Aviles steps in, let's go downstairs once again. Here's Katie.
Well, guys, Mike Aviles was telling me it's been 2 full years since he was a full-time utility guy. He says it's not an easy thing to do, but he told me he would rather have a role like this on a team like this with so much talent. You know, just being one of those 25 guys, you will have a point where you can have an impact on this team.
No, that's the key for guys who have done it before, like Mike, even though it's been a couple of years since he's that full-time utility man. He knows how to handle his role as he pops the first pitch in the air, dropping in a hurry, but Gardner there to run it down. And the inning is over. But Asdrubal Cabrera, with his second home run of the year, has the Tribe on the board, down 9-1. Get a look in at Progressive Field tonight from our Panini Cam, brought to you by Panini's Bar and Grill. (9-1) New York. Now we go to the 7th inning and changes for the Indians. Omir Santos has taken over behind the plate. Yan Gomes has gone from catcher now down to first base. So Nick Swisher's night is over. You see Gomes there at first. Asdrubal Cabrera's night has also come to an end. Mike Aviles goes from third to short. And Lonnie Chisenhall now takes over at third base. Wells rips it foul into the lower deck just beyond the Indians' dugout. The Indians have 3 infielders on the left side for Wells.
Yeah, we saw the Yankees do the same thing for Swisher today. But remember, we said a lot of times you never see the right-handers get.
Yeah.
You have three, on the left side, like you do the left-handers, where it happens to a lot of teams.
Starting to
a lot
see more
hitters.
of it now,
yeah,
aren't we?
Yes, we are. Tampa was the first one we saw do it, and it was to Shelley Duncan.
And of course, they get Duncan, and what does he do against us? He hits
goes
one
the
opposite
other,
field.
Go figure.
Wells pops one in the air to the right side. Rayburn in foul ground makes the catch, one away. Well, it's now Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. And for this little historical perspective, Carlos Carrasco in 2011 gave up that long blast to Melky Cabrera, who was posing. But the next man up, he buzzed the tower of Billy Butler and was ejected from the game, and then ultimately was suspended for 5 games. This is his first game back since all of that. And then after the home run to Cano, the next pitch, he up and in, drilled Euclid, and was ejected from the game.
Ichiro, he has a home run tonight. That came back with 2 outs in the third. One of the 3 home runs hit by the Yankees.
Two balls, 2 strikes. By Myers, Kipnis flips it to Gomes for out number 2.
Well, you don't want to miss any of the excitement here at Progressive Field this year with the season ticket package. You'll have access to the best seats at the lowest prices. Also, Tribe rewards and unique once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. Full and partial season ticket plans are on sale now at Indians.com.
Now Eduardo Nunez, who looks at an off-speed pitch for a strike. Nunez singled and scored back in the second. He flied to deep left to end the third and bounced to second his last time up. Bounces it to third base. There's Lonnie Chisenhall, guns it over. And a 1-2-3 inning. It's the first time tonight the Yankees have gone in order. It is time for the 7th inning.
Welcome back. Bottom half of the 7th inning. Andy Pettitte back out there. Andy in his first start against the Red Sox back on April 4th went 8 innings, gave up 8 hits. Going into the bottom 7th now, giving up only 5 hits and the 1 run in this game, and that was a solo home run by Asdrubal Cabrera.
Go back to your earlier point. I mentioned about the Yankees, 6 new players, new hitters in their lineup, and they're all off to a great collective start. And you said, could they do it potentially if they had to do it for the whole season? I mean, they need, as you said, they need Jeter. They need Teixeira.
Sure
they need those guys, Granderson, back in the lineup. What about Pettitte? He's off to a great start. Can he sustain this at 40 years old?
Well, I don't see why not. I mean, Andy Pettitte usually gets off to a good start. When you look at his record in the month of April, he's been very good, especially the last 10 starts or something in the month of April. Since 2009, he's 6-1. Yeah, I don't see any reason why not. He's always pitched well against the Central. There's Mark Teixeira as we speak, and those guys are going to be a while. They won't be ready till next month, and then when you come back, you still have to rehab. But yes, Pettitte knows how to pitch. I mean, if he stays healthy, he made 12 starts, and then pitched against us in that June game, late June, and it was a base hit off his leg. Off Casey Kochman that ended up breaking his ankle, and he ended up missing time. So I don't see any reason why he can't, sustain being very quality, good pitcher, giving them quality starts. The same thing as CC.
Yan Gomes, a swing and a miss. He strikes out. That's the 3rd strikeout for Pettitte tonight. This was that play you were referring to last year in New York. Casey Kochman lines it back up the middle and nailed Pettitte on his left ankle.
Yeah, he knew it hurt right then and there. He went down, but he tried to stay in there, and you could see after one pitch, no, it didn't work. He's limping. They had the x-rays. It showed the break, and he ended up missing a lot of time.
Drew Stubbs 2 for 3, 2 doubles on the night.
And, he's going to have to maintain it pitching in that American League East. People say it's not the division it once was, but there's some good teams over there. You got to match up against some pretty darn good pitchers. Baltimore's a team that has moved up the ladder. Tampa's always tough because they have good pitching. Toronto, everybody's preseason pick because of the moves they made. They're off to a slow start, but it won't be long.
And that's a lineup that can hurt you.
Well, and they also have some pretty good pitchers there that have track records. It's all going to be interesting. That's why you play the year out. 162 games, a lot of stuff happens. We're so early into this season. There's the big CC. He dealt Detroit. He matched up with Verlander and turned it around for him, and they come in here and they're dealing in the first 2 games.
Back-to-back strikeouts for Pettitte here in the 7th inning. The Cavaliers take on Brandon Knight and the Detroit Pistons tomorrow night at the Q. Cavaliers Live tips off the night's coverage at 6:30. Then Fred McLeod and Austin Carr have all the action at 7 on Fox Sports Ohio. 2 down for Jason Kipnis. 0 for 2 on the night. No balls, 2 strikes. And mentioned before, Eddie Pettitte, Yankees franchise record, 142 consecutive starts without a complete game. And closing in on 100 pitches here tonight with a 9-1 lead. I don't think Joe Girardi is going to try to stretch him out.
But the complete game's a thing of the past.
Well, not
anyway,
only that, but
and
think about how many times he probably had a start where maybe he could have finished, but you've got Mariano Rivera in the bullpen.
Right.
That's automatic.
But it's been that way. Complete games it's not a thing anymore. With the way bullpens are structured and set up and what they pay them, different world.
retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians. Lyle Overbay leading off this 8th inning for New York, takes the ball up high. 1 for 3 on the night. He singled and scored back in the second. Drilled deep right center, and that is not coming back. Lyle Overbay, his first home run of the season for New York, makes it 10-1 Yankees.
There's the big breaking ball, another one up in the zone, and it's leaving. He knew as soon as he let it go. Overbay gets his first. Ichiro had his first of the year. The Yankees now with 4 homers on the night. So they have 8 extra base hits. They have 4 doubles, 4 homers out of their 11 hits. It's a 10-1 ball game. But the common theme did not prevail. That was a lead-off homer.
Yeah, that's 7 home runs in the series now for New York. And we still have 2 more games to go.
Well, as a team, they've given up 15 home runs. This is game number 8.
The Indians, yeah.
And Myers has already given up 6.
Near the line, Rayburn running out of room, can't get to it. Francisco Cervelli 0 for 2 on the night. Two balls, 2 strikes. Line drive by Kipnis into center field. Jason nearly flagged it down, but just beyond his reach. Tonight's box score brought to you by your Northern Ohio Hyundai dealers. This is a look at the damage New York has done. And as Rick said, prior to the home run by Overbay, all of the runs scored had come with 2 outs. So the first 9 runs of this game, all done with 2-out damage. Brett Gardner, perfect night. He came in batting 167. Good block by Santos, but boy, you go back to that first inning, though they didn't score, he took a fastball away and lined it over Michael Brantley's head in left field. I mean, he hit it with authority, short hop the wall, and it's almost as if that one pitch, that one swing, got him going here tonight.
Well, sometimes that's all it takes is one at bat that locks you in, or you feel something, or kick something in. And
a little slow chopper to the mound.
First
Myers
time he has
it to
not been on base tonight.
Back to the Hyundai Studios once again. Here's Al Pulowski.
right, man, let's go back to Washington, D.C. White Sox and Nats tied at 2 in the 6th inning. Jason Worth, his 3rd homer of the year. That's a 2-run blast. LaRoche hit another 2-run blast as well. So Washington now leads Chicago 6-2, 7th inning. Back to you, Matt.
All right, thanks, Al. Robinson Cano will now step in for New York. In tight. Brett Myers, who was to start tomorrow night's game, comes out of the bullpen to suck up some innings. And Cano sends a laser over the head of Rayburn in right field. And he's on his way to second base with another double. As scoring is Francisco Cervelli to make it 11-1 New York. So Robinson Cano with 2 doubles and a home run tonight. Last night he had a double and 2 homers. He now has 5 ribbies in the ballgame.
Well, this one, I mean to tell you, wow, different sound to a bat. And Rayburn in right field had no chance. That ball's over his head before he can even take 2 steps. That was a courtesy jump. That's how hard that ball was hit. You're better off just walking him. You could have kept him at first base. And that guy on second. 6 for 9, 3 doubles, 3 dingers, 7 ribbies. Not a bad series. Guess what? That's 2 games and there's 2 to go.
Jason Nix to bat for Kevin Youkilis. Takes a strike. Nix, a one-time Indian. Swung on and missed. It's 0-2. Slowly chopped to third base. Chisenhall picks it, fires it, and nice job by Gomes to stay on the bag long enough to record the out. 2 down. Late innings are brought to you by Captain Morgan Rum. Raise a glass, always in moderation. Brendan Bosch will bat for Travis Hafner. Looks at a ball down low. Hit deep to right. Back is Rayburn, and it's gone. And the New York home run hit parade continues. Their 5th home run of the night. And once again, it comes with 2 outs. And it's now 13-1 New York.
Well, again, Bosch just coming in, his first AB, and he's going to leave the yard. And they have put some distance on a lot of these pitches.
It's the 3rd home run allowed by Myers since he came on after Carrasco had given up 2. Ben Francisco, who was in camp with the Indians this spring. But once the Indians cut him loose, the Yankees quickly added him. And all the injuries that they had, they were looking for bodies. And they snapped up both Francisco and Bosch when they were released. Bosch by the Tigers, Francisco by the Indians. Brett Myers with a 2-1 and a swing and a miss to even the count. That'll end the inning, but not before New York hits 2 more dingers. 5 on the night, and they lead it 13-1. For today's Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen. And after Andy Pettitte went 7 innings, allowing just 1 run, right-hander Adam Warren will get his 2nd appearance of the year.
Well, and once again, Pettitte does a nice job keeping him in a ball game. Gave him 7 innings, 5 hits. He walked 3, struck out 4, and the only blemish on his card was the solo home run by Cabrera.
Jason Nix comes into the ball game at third base after he pinch hit, and Ben Francisco is in left field. Adam Warren will face Asdrubal Cabrera, Nick Swisher, and Mark Reynolds. Chisenhall batting in Asdrubal Cabrera's spot in the order. Takes a strike. Down in the dirt. Cabrera went 1 for 3 with a home run. That's the only tally for the Tribe tonight. Ran the fastball outside. And it's 3-1. Hard hit ground ball into left field, and Chisenhall a base hit to start the bottom of the 8th. Let's go back and look at our keys to the game that we talked about earlier. Well, now
I forgot we had any.
Carrasco. We talked about keeping your cool, composure, all that, dealing with his first start, and that went right out the window after he drilled Kevin Youkilis.
Yeah, he blew that out of the water. He got rocked around the ballpark, and then
everything else was a moot point.
Was ejected. Was ejected out of the game. It didn't matter. They had no chance tonight after 4 runs in the second. They were out of this game.
Omir Santos, in his first at bat as an Indian, pops it foul ground, out number 1. Stay tuned after the game for Indians Live, brought to you by Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care. Mark Reynolds 0 for 3 on the night. He has popped to first and popped up in foul ground to first. Rick, I was thinking with Reynolds when he was facing Pettit tonight, I was thinking back to R.A. Dickey's comment before his first start in Toronto and saying how he'd rather face big
swingers,
full swing guys. And I think you almost think at Pettit, especially at this stage in his career, those are the kind of guys that he can really deal with because he'll take a little off and move it around enough.
Cut it in. He'll keep it in on you, change up and go away. He never lets you get the barrel of the bat to the ball. Whether it's down or up, he just moves it around and just keeps you off balance.
Fastball strike outside corner, and Reynolds down on the count 1-2.
But tonight when you're a pitch like that and you continue to get runs, then you really don't have much to worry about. It's just like keeping your composure. Let me get my work in. And keeping that focus there to get you through that start. And you're going to win the game.
And that's where veterans really flourish. When you give the veterans a lead, they usually don't.
They know what to do with it.
Exactly. They know how to go out and pitch with the lead. Sometimes you see guys give it all right back and do it in a hurry.
Well, not him. He hasn't done it, and he knows how to pitch. Good pitch.
Reynolds out looking. 2 down. No, he talked about it before. I mean, at 40 years old, Andy Pettit has learned a thing or two along the way.
Well, that one was out of the zone. He got the aggressive. That's borderline, but, he fields his position. But you look at the location. That one was down that he got a call. I mean, balls, he did walk 3 guys tonight, and they were patient enough to take some very close pitches. But he will not give in to a hitter no matter what the score is. He's going to make you work, and he's going to make you swing at his pitch.
Michael Brantley walked back in the 6th inning.
Every day with your hitting coach, you'll go over meetings, and you'll have that meeting against the guy you're going to face. You'll go up there with a game plan. You better stick to your game plan because he's not going to change his. And you know what? If the worst thing can happen, you end up 0 for 4 or 0 for 3, whatever it may be. Not going to be the first time, won't be the last.
Now Brantley with a runner at first and 2 down here in the bottom of the 8th inning. And Adam Warren fires low. 3-1. Funny what you said about Andy Pettit, I think applies to Michael Brantley. He's not going to change his game plan. He's not going to change his approach no matter what the score, no matter what the situation. He's going to stay who he is.
He was one guy that took that, good play.
And Warren takes a hit away from him. 8 complete. All New York tonight. 13-1 New York, ninth inning. Brett Myers has made 69 pitches in his appearance out of the bullpen. What would have been his start tomorrow. He is in a role that they call taking it for the team, taking one for the team, and he has gone out there and saved the bullpen. Pitch outside to Ichiro, who is 1 for 4 with a home run. And Jason Kipnis throws out Ichiro. One away here in the ninth. Fox Saturday Baseball returns this week with 3 great matchups as the Braves take on the Nationals in a showdown between NL East rivals. The defending World Series champion Giants battle the Cubs at Wrigley, or it's the Rays and the Red Sox. Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by Chevrolet, returns this week at 12:30 Eastern. Eduardo Nunez 1 for 4 on the night. One hop smash to short. Avila stays right with it, makes a good strong throw. And there are 2 down. Lyle Overbay is 2 for 4 on the night and hit his first homer as a Yankee back in the 8th. Line drive into the left center field gap. That'll go to the wall. And Overbay will go to second base. '15th hit on the night for New York.
6 doubles, 5 homers.
Francisco Cervelli, 1 out of 3. He singled and scored in the 8th. He walked and scored back in the 2nd inning. I'll tell you one thing, if you're part of a hitting group that puts up 15 hits on the board and 11 of the 15 are extra base hits, you're feeling really good about yourself.
Yeah, well, they've hit the ball hard tonight. It was the pitching has not been very good at all. It's been one of those nights. They have a party, and it seems like everybody showed up. The unfortunate thing is this is only the 2nd game in this series. It's a 4-game series. So the Indians are going to have to find a way, and they're going to have to get a good start from their starting pitcher.
Zach McAllister gets that call.
He's
the former
going to get
Yankee.
the nod tomorrow.
Francisco Cervelli looks at a ball. It's 3-1. In the air, center field. It's blooping and it's falling and it's in for a base hit. They're going to try to score the runner Overbay, and he will score easily. 14-1 as Cervelli picks up the RBI. So 7 allowed by Carrasco, now 7 allowed by Myers. Take another look. Something looked weird on that throw by Drew Stubbs.
Couldn't get it out of the glove.
Yeah, his footwork definitely got tangled up.
Yeah, but he couldn't get that ball out of the glove for some strange reason. But had a tough time finding it, and by the time he got rid of it, looked like he threw a little screwball in there to home plate.
Brett Gardner lashes a base hit to center field. And Cervelli stops at second. So Gardner has his 4th hit of the night. He's 4 for 5. So you talked about everybody getting involved in the party. The only Yankee starter without a hit tonight was Hafner. He went 0 for 4. And now even the reserves. Bosch is homered.
Well, it's just one of those days that, counts as one loss. You end up getting your butts beat, and you take it, and you know what? Move on.
It's no fun, and you don't like it, but you're right. At the end of the day, you can't get.
You forget it. You leave it here.
In football, you get blown out 42-0, and you got to live with it for a week.
Yeah. No, they'll be right back again tomorrow and trying to stop this. These guys are the ones. They weren't coming in swinging the bats very well as a team. As many guys got their first home run. Bosch and you look at Overbay and Ichiro tonight, but they got this guy at the plate going. I'll tell you what. Look at that.
Another base hit for Cano.
You can't stop this guy.
Bases are loaded. That's his 4th hit of the night. He's 4 for 6. So once again, it's the 2-out deal, and it's 2 outs, nobody on base. Again, that's the 3rd time in this game they've had 2 outs, nobody on base, and they've turned it into something. A double and 3 straight singles.
12 for 19.
With 2 outs?
With 2 outs, yes.
Jason Nix grounded to third, his only time up. Foul back, that got Santos. Here's the 0-1 now. Nix shoots it back. It's 0-2. Gardner, the runner at second base, and Cano, the runner at first. They've combined to go 8 for 11 tonight with 4 doubles and a home run. 7 runs batted in. And 5 of the Yankee runs scored. Just between those 2 guys themselves. The 0-2 down in the dirt. Brett Myers with a 1-2. A little bit low, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And now Myers wants to talk with Santos. $14 runs, 18 hits for New York. And they've got them loaded with 2 outs here in the 9th. Good breaking ball, and he strikes him out to end the inning. Yankees leave him loaded. They tack on 1 more, and they lead it by a baker's dozen. 14-1 New York. And we go to the bottom of the ninth inning. For the Indians, it looks like Rayburn, Aviles, and Gomes. Pops it up. Back goes Cano. The second baseman is under it. One away. Indians Live comes your way next. Right after the ball game, it's sponsored by Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care. I would imagine the comments from the clubhouse will be quick and to the point tonight.
Well, there's not much to comment on.
No. While in the Yankee clubhouse, they'll be talking at great lengths. Actually, they won't. And that's the one thing about baseball players, managers, and the like. When you have a great game like this, you don't really want to talk about it much.
It's on that. No,
you want to downplay it, if anything.
It happens to everybody. Guys are going to come out. You're going to have one of those days. The Indians didn't try. You hit 5 home runs. They did it on Sunday in Tampa. Hit 5 home runs. Have a good afternoon. Hey, you know what? There's always baseball the next day. You got to come back and be ready to go. It's not a good feeling. You wear it for that day, but they'll come back tomorrow and you forget about it.
Aviles ropes a base hit up the middle. 7th hit of the night for the Indians. And a one-out base runner here in the bottom of the ninth. Just a fastball right down Broadway, and Aviles knows what to do with that.
Sure. I mean, that's what you look for. Your type of score like this as a hitter, just that first fastball that comes in, you're ready to get after it.
Yan Gomes 0 for 3 in his Indians debut, the first Brazilian-born player to make it to the big leagues. Yan very proud of that. He was looking forward to playing in that WBC, but with the opportunity that he had with the Indians, he felt like, I got to be in spring training.
Yeah.
And I think it's paid off for him. That's why he's here, because of the spring he had, because of what he proved to Terry Francona and the coaching staff. I mean, he hit .407 in the big league spring training games that he played in. And more importantly, he handled his duties as a catcher. He hit .286 with the Columbus Clippers before the call-up. And a couple of doubles, couple of runs batted in. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Gomes with 1 on 1 out here, bottom of the ninth. And a bouncer towards third. Nix goes to second. There's one. Cano's relay in time. It's a game-ending double play. So it's an ugly one for the Indians tonight as the Yankees win it. 14-1 is the final. File it and forget it as quickly as possible if you're the Tribe. And as Rick said, you got to come back and get him again tomorrow. But Joe Girardi's club rolling in the first 2 games of this series. Their offense has really kicked it into high gear. 14 runs on 18 hits for New York here tonight. Our KeyBank key play of the game.
Well, there you see Cano continuing his hot streak, goes the other way, gets it out of the yard, and then the very next hitter, the very next pitch. Euclid gets drilled in the shoulder. Carrasco ejected from the game, and it was just another bad move. The first game back from suspension. He served his 5-game suspension, comes back, and he's got a chance to get suspended again.
KeyBank proud to be the banking home of the Cleveland Indians. Andy Pettit the win. He's 2-0 to start the year. Carlos Carrasco suffering the loss. Tribe drops to 3-5. Yankees back to 500 at 4-4. 12,663 the attendance here tonight. Stay tuned. Indians Live is next.